Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well. I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend Oliver Stauffer, who is the CEO of PTI, which stands for Packaging Technologies and Inspection. But we're not here to talk about PTI, actually, although we will have a little bit about that a bit later on. We're actually here to talk about ISPE's annual meeting next week, and in particular, the SCOPE track, which Oliver is actually the co-chair for. And SCOPE, if you don't know what it stands for, is the Supply Chain Operation and Packaging Excellence track at ISPE Annual Meeting. So Oliver, first of all, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on again.
Oh, well, it's delighted to see you again, Oliver. It's always a joy. So let's talk about ISPE annual meeting next week and the SCOPE track. What is it, and why should people be checking it out next week if they're attending the conference?
So yeah, first off, ISPE Annual Meeting. It's an annual event. Typically has thousands of attendees, exhibitors. People. A lot of people show up to these events, right? So this year it's a virtual event, and for the last year we've been developing the SCOPE track. The SCOPE track. This panel has been something we've sort of brought a few different tracks together over the last few years to really condense the quality of the content around the supply chain operations and packaging. So it's really excellent stuff. Over the last year, we have been pulling different conversations, different people in as panelists to really develop what we want for this annual meeting session. And so we have approximately 6 or 8 different panels speaking in the SCOPE track specifically, and never has this content been so relevant as it is today. So in dealing with the pandemic, supply chain is absolutely critical to bringing these drugs to market and assuring that we can really get vaccines out there with speed and quality. So it's really a very relevant conversation that's happening right now. Yeah.
Great. And what are some of the sort of sessions that people can look out for, which you particularly excited to sort of chair and view?
Absolutely. So we have Melissa Figgins is leading a really great session with an FDA, a regulator or someone from the FDA on her panel. And that session is specifically focused on the drug shortage issue. So ISP over the last many years has been really focusing on drug shortages as a very specific target for creating a solution. So that's one of the main missions for ISPE. And so that panel is focused just on drug shortages. Very excellent stuff. We also have 2 panels that are focused on blow fill seal applications for vaccines and biologics. So blow fill seal is generally used for ophthalmic and other applications, and it has been a little bit tepid or slow to enter into the parenterals market simply because of a variety of concerns that the market may have. But right now, today, the need for parenterals and these medicines out in the marketplace, that is absolutely critical. So getting vaccines into the marketplace with blow fill seal is a really excellent topic. And why it comes up is there has been a concern that there is a shortage of borosilicate glass in the marketplace. Some say there isn't, some say there is. That's a supply chain issue that's very critical. And the blow fill seal market, there's no concern at all about the supply chain or the supply of the raw materials to make these package formats. So talking about bringing the blow fill seal into the parenteral space for vaccines in the Western world, they're using it right now in a variety of parts of the world, but in Europe and in North America, blow fill seals and parenterals, it's just something that people aren't taking that leap yet. And so it's a really great conversation to have. And then there's a few other topics around biologics, speed to market with site development, cell and gene therapy, very excellent topic. So cell and gene therapy has been a hot button issue for quite some time. And if you don't know cell and gene therapy, it's 100% a supply chain concern. You're collecting plasma, blood fluids, and processing them at a separate facility and then returning those samples to the hospital where the patient is to receive their treatment. And so that's a really important thing to consider supply chain concerns. And so the SCOPE track, we have 2 sessions focused solely on cell and gene therapy. Phil Vanek is focused. He has a really great panel. It's a really big group of people that's speaking on that panel. So that's great. And I think there's one other, Colleen O'Brien, of course, she is with SHOT, and she's speaking on container closure integrity, focused on cell and gene therapy. So container closure integrity, that's my wheelhouse. That's what I hold dear to my heart. I love it. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on in that session. And Colleen's from SHOT, they're focusing on CCI, or container closure integrity, for the cell and gene therapy space. So, you know, the topics that we're hitting on, there are a handful of them. We have Kamal Hati is focused on lab space, building out lab space. Anshul Mangal is focused on advanced therapy. So again, cell and gene therapy or advanced therapies, are you going to make those therapies in-house? What's the cost analysis versus having that product and those processes outsourced to a CMO? So the conversations that we have within the scope track are very relevant today to the drug shortages issue, and as well as the bringing vaccines to market, speed to market. You know, right now the industry is in an aggressive race to bring a solution to the marketplace safely, with the patient's safety and health in mind. And the conversations we're having in the scope track are absolutely focused right on that point.
That sounds really, really interesting, actually. And if people want to know more and register for ISP, if you haven't done that already, there will be a link for the event above the video that you can click on to find out more about everything that's just been discussed. Now, the other thing, obviously, is that you guys, as PTI, have got a booth there as well. So for people not familiar with PTI, perhaps you can just give them a quick overview of PTI and what they can expect to find from PTI at the show.
Absolutely. So PTI, Packaging Technologies and Inspection, we are only doing container closure integrity. So we're focused on parenterals, whether they leak or not. So here I have a vial that we have a laser drill defect in it, and we're focused on detecting those defects. So this is a control sample for an FAT. And so, you know, our technologies, we have 5 different technologies. We're working on a 6th technology, and these technologies are only focused on detecting defects in high-risk package formats. So we're really heavily invested and focused on the parenteral product space and pharmaceutical product space. So PTI we've been around for over 30 years. We're a 60-person organization manufacturing the equipment, distributing it globally. And we do a lot of method development, feasibility studies, a lot of focus on just client solutions. We're not just making the equipment. And so PTI, we're going to be showing, we have a virtual booth at ISP. So first off, we were so excited to have an actual in presence event in Philadelphia as we were developing this show over the last year. And since it's gone virtual, it's really been an awesome dynamic change too, because what ISP has done, they've really set us up for, and the exhibitors, for a really engaging opportunity. So you have all the speaker sessions at your availability, and then all the exhibitors, there's a digital space where we can actually, you have a lot of video demos, other video content where exhibitors or the attendees can actually go in and really dig around and experience the content at their leisure. So beforehand, if you were at a real event, you had to, rush from one room to the next, and it was sort of a, being at the ISP event, you can never attend all the speaker sessions, and at the same time, walking the exhibit halls, trying to balance all that out could have been challenging. And today it's all virtual, so they can hop into our virtual space, they can experience the technology at their leisure. So people that are, typically walking an exhibit hall that are shy, and you're walking and you see these salespeople that are trying to pull on your sleeve. You don't need that now, right? It's digital. It's at your leisure. So you can actually go experience the technology and the companies at your leisure. And that's a really great aspect of sort of that virtual space, right? So people are going to be able to attend these virtual events without much sort of hassle, having to run all over the place and missing sessions. And then you can really experience the technology. We have even some live demos that will be up. And then also there will be some sales engineers and engineers, not salesmen, sales engineers that will be there to answer a lot of technical questions and support the clients with details that they might have. So when you hop into our virtual booth and you have a question, you can connect with someone that's actually alive and real, right?
Yeah, well, that sounds really good. I mean, I'm quite shy at shows as well, as you know, Oliver. So I hate going on. I hate
I doubt
doorstepping.
it. Yeah.
But well, yeah, well, actually, you know, you have sold virtual events to me. Actually, I have to say, because those are all the benefits that for all those introverted scientists out there, you've got it,
Yeah.
and you can engage, as you said, with people on the booth by contacting them. You will know if they're online, and you can send them a message and communicate to them. That's great. So
Yeah.
that's all we've got time for. I appreciate you taking time to give me a great overview of the event. It sounds very exciting. It must have been really exciting getting all these people together to talk about these various topics. As you said, it is so topical and of the moment, everything that you're discussing, that it's definitely worth checking out. If you're at ISPE next week, then make sure you check it out. If you aren't able to get to ISP, then by all means, send Oliver a message below the video. I'm sure he'll be happy to hook you up with relevant information and with other people as well. And if you want to know more about CCI testing, then I'm sure he's the man to talk to as well. So you can send him a message on that as well. So all that's left is always, Oliver, is say thank you very much for taking time to talk to me. I much appreciated.
Yeah, Rizwan, thank you so much for having me. Thanks for engaging and creating this conversation. It's a really important one right now, especially in the industry. You know, we're cranking away here to produce solutions, and I know everyone here that's watching this video is also very heavily invested in a healthier global community. So I thank everyone for participating and doing what we can. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And to everyone, I hope you found that useful. As I said, check out the web link above for ISPE. There'll also be a link actually to PTI if you want to know more about them as well. And as always, until next time, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.